Now, there is a very thin line of difference between calling it a sex work, prostitution, or just say criminalization. Now, there.
Good evening, and I hope all of you are doing well. Hi, Pritha. Welcome to your Comunete talks. And hi, Hiran, again. You're always there. You're the special guest. So, today's topic is sex laws and prevention, and as much as we can cover about it. So, Pritha, as I know that you have been researching about this topic a lot in college, so why don't you give us an overview?
All right. Hi, Ratansha. Thank you for inviting me. So, and today we're going to talk about sex work, sex workers, and potentially decriminalization of sex work. So, I've done a few bits and pieces of research alongside in college. And what I've found is that there's a lot of literature on sex work, but there isn't potentially a lot of literature on how or the ways in which we need to move forward to take the matter forward. Like, how do we advance in this field? So, to give a brief overview, like a basic foundation for us, sex work is basically just like any other profession in the world. If we take the neoliberalism idea of it, the modern world idea of it, it would be that sex work, it involves workers who are involved in a trade which allows a contractual business or contractual obligation between two parties in exchange for sex and compensation. So that is to say that decriminalization of sex work at the moment is what is needed rather than legalization. Equal opportunities for them to speak out and destigmatize their profession is going to be the major step forward towards seeing the world through a humanistic or through a humane lens. And yes, the today's talk is going to be about that.
Okay, it seems quite interesting, and also given the fact that uh, I think this topic is supposed to be highlighted now rather than ever before, because now I think 42 million sex workers is a very large number. And given the fact that we are in 2021, it is still stigmatized. It is still not considered as work. They are not given the recognition as labors and are not protected in the labor laws is quite bad for the society itself. And I believe that this profession has been there for a very very long time, since the beginning of humanity, and it was brought due to as they say that male needs, but we do need to recognize female needs and what women face in their day-to-day lives. And I hope that we come close to at least starting a discussion with everyone and closer to a solution for our generation. So let me ask you the most basic question. What is the difference between criminalization and decriminalization of the same topic?
Okay, so I think there are a lot of approaches that we take forward in this aspect. The, the approach that we are adopting through the laws that are implemented in India right now is sort of partial decriminalization of it. And I think even to, I mean, to basically sum it up, decriminalization would be to have uh, in the scale or in the way that it currently is, it is that some parts of it, the government says or the laws say that sex work is not a criminal activity. However, we have to understand that all of the ways in which you do sex work is being criminalized. So a partial decriminalization does not work. And criminalization of it means that we say that, okay, sex work is a criminal activity. Therefore, we need to eliminate this pathway of sex work entirely. So two there are two approaches to this. One is the abolitionist movement, that is criminalization. So crim- uh, you abolish sex work entirely, or otherwise there is another approach which says that there needs to be an individualistic approach to it, person to person, giving the people their autonomy or their independent choice to work as a sex worker. And in that, if we go down that route, then we may stumble towards decriminalization of sex work.
Okay. So, according to you, which approach should be the most appropriate one? Because if we say that we start criminalizing or abolish it completely, that means that people are going to lose their livelihood, right? So, what approach would be the most appropriate one?
Um, it's pretty fast to come to a conclusion that which path would be the best to move forward. I think there are quite a few literature pieces that have pointed out towards the approaches that can be taken towards this, and they are first would be criminalization, the second would be decriminalization, or there can be partial criminalization, or lastly, there can be legalization of it. So I think that legalization, there has to be some common approaches that we can adopt in countries like Australia. I think New Zealand as well. They have adopted certain approaches. So what they have done is that they've asked the government. I'm not sure whether it has been implemented or not yet, but the approaches that were there in the reports that were sent to various committees to the government, it said that uh, either you decriminalize some part of it, that is to say that um, you impose legislation in a way that would allow sex workers to continue their way of living, along with having certain prohibitions so that it does not disturb the society. And the other way would be that to enable sex workers to uh, get to the position where they can choose whether they want to continue in the industry or not. Because I think one of the first principles that people who want to eliminate sex work say is that, I mean, the viewpoint is that um, sex work needs to be eliminated because it is, say, against morality, or because they advocate against the commodification of sex. And most importantly, I think, is that the saying that sex workers are victims of coercion and violence. Human trafficking, I think, is one of the main causes for the abolitionist approach. So, to sum it up, I think there needs to be a combination of various approaches.